Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm MrTieDye and today we're going to do a Christmas tree design. So what I have done is started with a t-shirt that's been soaked in soda ash, it's been spun out, and then I folded the t-shirt in half by tucking one sleeve into the other sleeve. I do have a video on that and I'll put that down in the description box. But that gives me the front of the tee and the back of the tee separate, so I can tie this design just on the front of the tee. So what I'm going to do is flip that backwards. I had made myself a stencil out of this plasticky stuff. Works great, so I just drew this out. The one thing though is this has got a bunch of these really tight corners on it. So if you don't like doing those tight corners, you can do your Christmas tree, but you don't have to put these swoops. You can just do more of an angled line all the way down and around here. And that'll give you the Christmas tree, and then you can put your dots on. I tried to put the dots on not too close to these outer lines here, so that I'm going to tie these up first, but it's not going to interfere with me folding up the rest of this. If I put dots right up next to these edges, then that would make this outer line harder to fold. So anyway, with that said, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is start from the top here, and I suppose you could start from either side, but I'm going to start from the top, and I'm just going to do little accordion folds going down. And what I try to do when I know I have these tight corners is try to make sure that as I get close to those, I adjust my folds somewhat, because I want this point here to be on the downward side of this. That's how I do my tight corners, and that allows me to flip that up at an angle, so it's not quite all the way pointing down, but close enough. And now I can take this other one, so I got my finger underneath here. So what I'm going to do is flip this edge up and lay it up right there. And that just helps me then continue doing my fold. Now I can straighten this out and then lay that flat down. And now this line, let me get this situated. This line now is right in line with my folds here. So now I can continue, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip this up, and well, let's see, I'm going to do a couple short ones here. That's the thing when you're doing tight corners, is you have to sometimes adjust your folds. Well, let's see, maybe I can do a couple tall ones. Yeah, so this fold here I did just a little bit taller than the one behind it, and that way, once again, I have the sharp point down, and now I can flip this other thing up and around here. So, and I will make a video that kind of demonstrates that a little bit better. But this here is for the nice tight folds on here. Oh, and I was going to tie my ornaments and lights up first, and I forgot to do that. So that's something that we can come back to, but that's some place where you could have started. You could have tied all of these dots up first and then did this fold here. I just got excited to tie this Christmas tree up, so we're just going to keep going for it here. So now I'm just folding these up, and I'm watching as I get closer to this here that I can line that up and end that run once again with that fold on the downward side. And that just allows me to flip this other side up and lay it there, move this around, and then lay that down, and now I'm once again still lined up in a nice straight line here. And these just take practice, and the more that you practice these tight corners, the easier they're going to get, and it just makes more designs possible to be folded if you can fold around some of these tight corners like this. And I can see that my line is not staying perfectly straight here on top. It's going just a little bit crooked, but that's just going to add to that Christmas tree look if it's just a little bit jagged. If it's too straight of a line, then it doesn't look like it has nice furry branches on it. So sometimes it's okay to be just a little bit off with your folds. As long as you get it most of the way straight there for the Christmas tree, that's going to be just perfect. So I folded just the green part of the tree. I still have the stump down here that I need to fold in, but I'm going to go ahead and tie this off, and then I'll fold that extra little bit up here. So I have myself a slip knot already. So I'm going to slide that around there and tighten this up. And let's put this slip knot all the way over here on this side. Okay, there we go. I'm going to wrap it around a couple times just to kind of cinch it down a little bit. And then tie this off, and then I'm going to fold the tree trunk up, and I'm going to leave this string tied right here, which will help me in my tying off this last little bit. So let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here. Let's see what we have here. So I got this here is my string right here, so I tied it off right there next to the tree trunk. So now I can do a couple little folds on this one. Okay, and now this string here is ready. I can just wrap it under. So I'm going to zoom back out here. Turn this around. Okay, so I got that tied in there. Now I can tie this off because I have this string right here next to my tree trunk. Okay, so I got a little bit of separation in between the tree and the trunk here, and then I want that in between the tree and the rest of the t-shirt. So just by putting a little bit of pressure on the t-shirt here, it just helps separate that out. That's what I like about the kite string, is it allows you to tie your shirt up and create the separation in there that you need. Sometimes I will put a piece of plastic, like one of my, from my stencils, I'll sometimes fold and cut a piece and tie it in there just to create that separation. But if I can do that with a kite string naturally, and I'm going to wrap up this tree after we tie these ornaments in here, but that just helps you make sure you're not getting dye where you don't want it. Okay, now for these ornaments, what I'll do is just use a stick of some sort. In this case, I have my cuticle pusher here, and you can just stick that underneath the t-shirt here, and then take a slip knot. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so underneath one of my dots here, there you go, you can see that, I think. So then I put a slip knot over top of that, and that allows me to gather just that little bundle of the t-shirt up, tighten my slip knot, pull that out, and then I'll usually wrap it a couple times and tie it off. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now with all the rest of these. I'm going to tie up a whole bunch of these little bundles, all of these little dots in here. And whether I find all the same ones or I just tie some new ones, but that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go into fast forward mode, and then I'll be back when we are ready to dye this. So we got all the ornaments tied, and now it's time to tie the rest of the Christmas tree up. So what I'll do is put another slip knot in here just to get me started. The main thing is you're tying the Christmas tree is you don't want to fold your ornaments under. So I'm just going to tie right around the base here. Just to get it started, and then I'm just going to kind of lightly scrunch, and tying around the base give me more separation than between the tree trunk and the tree part. Then it's just a matter of doing just a light scrunch and making sure that all your ornaments stay up on top. So I'm just bringing things together and just making sure my lights are up on top. There's the Christmas tree. I'm going to get some gloves on. We'll be back and put some color on this thing. So stay tuned. We're ready to put some color on this baby. So I'm going to start out, I just like to outline my designs, so I use thick black dye for that. An outline's not required, that's just my preference. So you can choose to go either way with that. If you do want to make the thick black dye, I'll have a link to how I do it for just a quick little thing, a quick little batch of thick dye. I have two different ways of mixing it, and I'll put the simpler way down below. If you're doing actual dye painting, I suggest the long method, but with just thickening some dye, the new stuff that I got from Amazon, the sodium alginate, works just perfect for that. Alright. So now the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I have all my ornaments kind of pulled up and away from the rest of the t-shirt here, just so that they're poking up. And you can kind of poke the rest of the t-shirt down away from them. That's the other way you can get these to stick up further, is just by poking the rest of the t-shirt down as you pull those up. Okay, so now I'm going to use my lightest, brightest colors that I have. So I'm going to use fuchsia. Well, it's stick them in here. I got fuchsia, I got lemon yellow, I got a bright green, I got orange, and I have turquoise. So between those two, I have 10 different ornaments here, and I've got 5 different colors. So I'm going to dye 2 of each one color. Sorry, I don't seem to be able to talk today. I'm going to dye 2 of these in each color. And then the rest of the tree I'll dye in green. A darker green. And these little bottles with these fine tips really help the process too. So if you get yourself some of those from Amazon, I'll have a link down in the description of where I bought mine from. And I'm going to fill in some of the excess space here in a lighter shade. So this is just some lighter turquoise. I just watered down my other one. And there's the Christmas tree. So I'm going to let this sit for 48 hours, and then I'll have the results for you in about 2 seconds here. So thank you for watching.